Thank you so much for being here today. I am Pagan Pagioni. I am the Senior Director of Strategic Workforce Engagement at the Interstate Renewable Energy Council, and thrilled to be joined here today by my colleagues for a webinar focused on supporting contractors with workforce and business development resources. And let's have you all jump into the chat and introduce yourselves, your name, your location, whether you're freezing cold this week and have been covered in snow, and the organization that you work for. And I would love to have my colleagues introduce themselves before we kick off here. So Kelly, I'm going to pass it to you for a second.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Carey. I'm Marketing and Communications Specialist at BPI.
Xavier.
Hi, I'm Xavier Walter with the Building Performance Association. I'm the State Outreach Director.
Awesome. Thank you both. And great to see folks joining us. Some people are cold and some people are a little warmer. Snow-free parts of Florida. I know Florida is expected to get some snow too. Bizarre weather. Couple of housekeeping notes before we kick off here. Listeners, all of you folks joining us, you are on mute. Please use the Q&A feature. You'll find that at the bottom of your screen to ask any questions, and we'll have a section at the end of the webinar where we will answer submitted questions there. We'll try and keep an eye on the chat for questions as well and address those at the end. But if you can use the Q&A feature, it makes sure that all questions are up front and center. We will send a copy of this presentation and follow-up resources and links out to you probably early next week. And if needed, we do have closed captioning enabled for this webinar. So if you'd like to utilize that feature, you can press the show captions in the user control panel at the bottom of your screen, same place that you'll find Q&A information. And with that, we will kick off here. I'm actually kicking off from IREC, and then we'll hear from BPI and BPA in just a little bit. So thank you again for joining us today. If you are not familiar with the Interstate Renewable Energy Council, previous to today, we have been around for over 40 years. We're a nonprofit organization working to build the foundation for the adoption of clean energy and energy efficiency. And we advance our clean energy future in three kind of complementary pathways. The first is through our workforce development team, where we lead efforts to grow a diverse and qualified clean energy workforce. And next, we have our local clean energy solutions, or local initiatives team. You might be familiar with their work in some of our community designation programs like Soul Smart and Charging Smart. And then our regulatory engagement team leads interconnection and regulatory policies that advance the growth of distributed energy resources. And so on the workforce development team, we have a number of initiatives that support initiatives across. Somebody just said they do not see the slides.
Hey, yeah, Pagan, I was just about to interrupt you. We don't see the slides.
That is really strange. Okay, well, there's always things that happen strangely. So let me just back up a second, because it says I'm sharing my screen. So hold on a moment. And thank you everyone for your patience while we figure this out. And it worked in our test. So we are going to, oops. right, hold on a second. We're going to make this work. Okay, how about now? Can we see slides?
Yes.
Oh, and we can also see other, okay. Now I think we're set. Are we set?
Yes.
Great, thank you, Michelle. All right, let's start again. We've been over our housekeeping. I'm sorry you missed our pretty slide about that and our pretty slide about IREC and our workforce development, local initiatives, and regulatory teams. I think we're back on track now. This is where we were. My apologies, everyone. So welcome to our webinar. I am Pagan Piccioni, and here to talk to you today about some of IREC's initiatives on the workforce side of things. We have a number of different programs and projects that support workforce development and the growth of the clean energy and energy efficiency sector. One of the things that we know directly from our work in the National Clean Energy Workforce Alliance and some of our work in the Weatherization Assistance Program project that I am here to talk a little bit about today in relation to contractor resources and supports that we have is that employers have a really similar story and similar messaging across the country. It's really challenging to hire employees, and we need more folks working for us to make our goals a reality. Across the country, we're investing in the energy economy of the future. We're installing energy systems to help make our communities more resilient and mitigate the impact of changes in our climate, while also working to make homes more energy efficient. And all of this growth means that there are new opportunities for contractors with expertise in construction, electrical work, mechanical work, among many other areas. And we also know that while there's so many different places and opportunities for contractors to grow their business and access new opportunities, that we know that contractors need help connecting to their future employees. So I'm really thrilled to be here today with Kelly and Xavier. We're all working for national partners that have resources and supports available to assist contractors, and super excited to be sharing all of our different activities today. So I want to speak specifically about a project, our Green Workforce Connect initiative. This is really IREC's kind of overall umbrella strategy to support workforce development across the country and make better connections between job seekers, students, youth, and the employers and training programs that can help them take that next best step in their local area. This initiative began with a focus on the Weatherization Assistance Program and opportunities for job seekers and students, and also contractors focused on home and building energy performance. And Green Workforce Connect is funded through multiple projects at IREC. We started with the Weatherization Assistance Program with funding for enhancement and innovation from the Department of Energy. We expanded the platform mid last year to include our apprenticeships and clean energy network, and we'll be working to integrate other IREC projects and new career opportunities and pathways in different technologies, including solar, coming later this year. So this started, as I mentioned, with a focus on the Weatherization Assistance Program and opportunities for job seekers and contractors all across the country that could be working with local agencies that are delivering that program. We have a number of national, state, and local partners, and we've been working directly with employers and local Weatherization Assistance Program agencies to better understand their needs, and also working with contractors to better understand what needs they have. And this program is a broad workforce development program, but today I'm here to talk to you just specifically about some of the resources and supports that we have developed for contractors, including our Contractors Guide to Success, which is a comprehensive guide available online. It's divided into 5 different sections: getting started, preparation, application, starting work and quality control, and growing your business. And this resource was developed really to provide contractors with a comprehensive overview of the Weatherization Assistance Program and the opportunities available in home and building performance. Whether they're starting a business or interested in starting a business, or if they are interested in connecting to local opportunities. I do encourage you to visit Green Workforce Connect, and specifically the Contractors Guide to Success if you're a contractor. If you're an organization that works with contractors, I encourage you to check it out as well, because we have a lot of feedback from folks all across the country that the Guide to Contractor Success has been a really valuable resource in educating contractors around what the program opportunities are and what some of the requirements are. I mentioned it's available online. You can also download it as a PDF. And each section, the preparation section, really does a deep dive into how you can prepare your business for these opportunities, training and certifications, building science certifications. BPI can speak to that and answer questions later. Local, state building codes, really trying to provide comprehensive information, and also links to other vetted and reliable resources that will help you find out answers to questions. Starting work in quality control, again, really detailed information about a lot of different things that you might need to have a successful business, regardless of what sector you're working in. So this is focused on Weatherization Assistance Program opportunities, but a lot of the information that we have available is useful for any contracting business, including things about customer service and project management tools. And throughout the guide, there are also a number of supplemental resources that can be downloaded as separate PDFs. We have 4 available right now. There's a very detailed tools and equipment list. It covers everything from like standard hand tools that you would want to have to just, for general contracting work, but also really specific tools that might be needed for weatherization, energy efficiency, and home and building performance work. So there's a tools and equipment list. There's also an application process overview that's specific to the Weatherization Assistance Program and gives links to sample RFPs and information about how you can access these opportunities. There's also a program-specific guide to understanding work specifications, field guides, and the job aids that are available. And then another resource focused on quality assurance within the Weatherization Assistance Program. And we are also working right now, and I was very hopeful and had my fingers crossed that we would be able to give you links to all of the new supplemental resources that we are developing specific for contractors, including a quick guide with 10 steps to becoming a new contractor, business plan on a page, a guide to financing your business that includes editable chart of accounts, budget worksheet, which you can see an image of over here, and also an editable pro forma worksheet. So trying to give you tools and templates that you can use within your business. We had a question arise recently in another webinar around what types of insurance contractors can be looking at, and pleased to share with you that we will also be including a guide to insurance for Contractors, and then also a guide to onboarding new employees and a guide to creating an employee handbook, along with a editable template that you can use in case you don't have a template or you don't have a handbook for your business. So key steps to connecting to opportunities in the Weatherization Assistance Program through Green Workforce Connect. You can now make direct connections to over 130 local weatherization agencies across 10 states. And I strongly encourage you, no matter where you are, if you're interested in expanding your business or working in this space, to connect with your local service provider and find out what their needs for contractors are. Most agencies across the country that are delivering this program do work with contractors in some capacity or another. If there is no direct connection available in your state, we do have a contractors inquiry form, and those contractors that complete that will hear back from someone with a connection in their local area. And I also want to highlight a few other resources that we feel are helpful for contractors in this space that are all available through Green Workforce Connect. Including resources like editable job descriptions for key field roles, career pathways, and career maps that can be used with employees of contractors to show them different pathways. And also there's an outreach and engagement toolkit with templates for messaging and photos that you can use to promote the opportunities. There's also a resource around job boards that are recommended for connection to new employees. And I also wanted to take a quick moment to highlight some of the other IREC resources and supports that might be helpful to folks as they're exploring opportunities in the clean energy and energy efficiency space, including our main IREC website, which is incredibly comprehensive. Like I said, we've been around for 40 years, so there's a lot of deep information there. I mentioned our apprenticeships in clean energy, our ACE network earlier. And I know you'll be hearing a little bit more about apprenticeship supports in when Xavier's speaking later, but there is a lot of information about apprenticeship opportunities and supports for employers on Green Workforce Connect. And we have free technical assistance and resources available. So if you're interested in learning more, please connect with us. On the learning side, IREC has a learning management system at cleanenergytraining.org. We have a lot of free, actually all the courses there are free, including courses on Solar App, which is used in a lot of different jurisdictions around the country for solar permitting. There's a course there. There's also a plan review and permitting for residential PV systems. And then on the HVAC side, there's the introduction and fundamentals of building control systems and advanced control strategies. So if you're not familiar with our learning management system and the free professional development and learning courses there, please check it out. We have other education and learning resources at the cleanenergyclearinghouse.org, including some resources that are suitable for building owners and homeowners. And then I want to highlight our local community support programs, because if you live in one of our energy ready communities, so a Soul Smart, Charging Smart, or in the future a distributed Wind Smart community, those communities are all opportunities for contractors to make a connection with their local authority having jurisdiction and discover what the permitting process and opportunities are in your communities. So with that brief overview of IREC resources and supports, I will encourage you to check out the Contractor's Guide to Success, and we will send all of this information out next week. And I would like to invite Kelly Carey from BPI to join us and chat a little bit about BPI and in particular their recruitment toolkit.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to talk very, very briefly about BPI. Building Performance Institute develops technical standards for improving the performance of homes, comfort, efficiency, safety, health, durability. From those technical standards, we develop the professional certifications for technicians to do the work. Anyone who works in weatherization probably has to do with BPI certifications. Very, very grateful to all of you guys who dedicate your career to the weatherization program. It does incredible work. I've seen the difference it makes in my community. So thank you guys so much. We want to talk today, though, about the recruitment toolkit. It's a project that we came into a little bit more than a year ago. We hear very consistently that employers have difficulty bringing new people into the industry. Home performance and weatherization is not the most visible of trades. It's not as well known. And many of the businesses that work in this field are small. There are many small businesses. So we took on a project with our partner organization, that's the U.S. Partnership for Education and Sustainable Development, to develop a toolkit of materials, templates, and supports to help home performance and HVAC businesses recruit employees into the industry. The focus is on new workers. The toolkit offers templates, strategies, and tested messages, which we found consistently connect with the motivations of career seekers. Next slide. You can find the recruitment toolkit and the materials on bpi.org's recruitment toolkit page. The toolkit itself is a 34-page guide to industry recruitment. It was developed through a long research process that included a market survey of the recruitment supports that are currently available, interviews with industry-leading educators, employers, organizations, an advisory council drawn from boots on the ground organizations around the country, and testing at 3 pilot sites. And at every phase of the project, we added and adjusted our activities and our deliverables in response to what we were learning. I think that one of the most important questions that we asked was when we were speaking to people who are employers and trainers, we asked them, when you talk to people who have already chosen this career and they like it and they want to stay, what reason do they give? What makes people want to come and stay? And that was really, really informative in our process. So what's in the toolkit? It includes key recruitment strategies used with success around the country, vetted messages or themes that reflect the motivations of those people who have already selected a home performance or HVAC career, template materials including sample copy for use in marketing, co-brandable social media templates, flyers, presentation slides, a suite of 52 free downloadable high-quality images showing real home performance workers in the field. And those things that we developed really did come out of what people told us they needed. We had some ideas about what we thought people needed when we started out, and people like our advisory council very, very generously told us exactly what they needed. And I know that some of you are in the audience here today, and thank you so much for participating in the toolkit project. We couldn't have done it without you. Next slide. We wanted to increase your success in recruitment by crafting materials that appeal to the person who is likely to be happy with the opportunity that you have. After all, the goal is not simply to recruit, but to recruit and retain so that the number of workers in the industry will actually grow. We distributed a survey to educators, employers, and workforce development professionals. We consulted with our advisory and engagement partner groups to find out why people choose and why they like these careers. And as we asked, the answers, which, are very diverse, they began to fall into these broad buckets or sort of themes about what attracts them, what they find most rewarding. And when you look at the materials on our website, you will see these snappy headlines. You can customize the snappy headline however you want, but these broad buckets are going to be really useful for folks as you start to think about how to craft messaging. Making homes better. This includes health, as well as energy costs, reducing the energy used by the home, a strong career future with lots of growth, helping others, often healthy homes comes into that, and reducing energy costs, short training times, and low-cost training, supported or subsidized training fall into that bucket. Many people report that they want a physically active career. They're people who like this career are people who do not want to sit at a desk. Those are the folks who are delighted with the sort of variety of activities that you encounter in a home performance career. Money was really important, and our advisory group told us very clearly that you need to talk about money. You need to talk about dollars. You need to talk about wages. You need to talk about how much is available. You need to talk about how soon they're going to start earning. And they told us that you need to be careful to avoid euphemisms. Use the words money, use the word dollars, use the word earn, because people who are looking for a career, they need those answers. And some people are just excited about technology. They're excited about the pace of evolution in HVAC and home performance careers, and they want to be part of that. So we were delighted to find these things. We suspected that something like this was true, but we found that it is very true. Next slide. The recruitment toolkit aims to reach new career seekers and career changers. It is especially mindful of the needs of job seekers from disadvantaged communities who want to combine meaningful work and economic opportunity with accessible low-cost training and the ability to start earning right away. The toolkit is not focused on recruiting experienced home performance and HVAC professionals into your business, which isn't to say these things won't be helpful for that. They might be, but that wasn't the focus. The question of how to retain or attract experienced professionals by becoming an employer of choice, that's a bigger subject, and it's going to have to be a future project, which we hope to do. Next slide. When you first download the recruitment toolkit, you'll see that it's hefty. It's a little overwhelming at first. It's very rich. So the question you will ask yourself is, where do I start? Successful recruitment is a cycle of learning and refining. The best way to use the recruitment toolkit is to use it as a basis or a touchstone for your learning and trialing. Not be able to implement all the tools and strategies in the toolkit in one go, or maybe even in a year. Consider printing the toolkit and carry it around with you for a while. Share it with your team and think about it. Have it physically in your hand while you digest it so you can integrate the ideas into your existing processes. You don't have to, but it might help. It's what I would do. I would print it and I would carry it in my notebook. Next slide. Because the toolkit has so many resources and strategies to try, we've provided a checklist to help you work your way through it. The checklist is available in the toolkit PDF as Appendix D and as a downloadable Word document at the top of the recruitment tools page. Next. You can just flip through those animations. Track your recruitment efforts with the printable PDF or downloadable in Word. There are two ways. The Recruitment Toolkit is a joint project of the Building Performance Institute and the U.S. Partnership for Education for Sustainable Development. BPI's Director of Workforce Development, Nancy Kaplan, and I worked on this project very closely. Nancy's here today. Hello. With Deborah Rowe, at the U.S. Partnership. She is a career educator in the clean energy trades, now working in advocacy. I think she's very familiar to those of you who have been involved with the National Clean Energy Workforce Alliance and her team, Sarah Hill and Angela Som. This project also could not have existed without the many, many folks listed in the acknowledgements of the toolkit itself. As I said, I know that some of you guys are here today. Thank you all very much. Next slide. You can get started by visiting the recruitment tools page at bpi.org. This is where you can download the toolkit, the checklist, and all the template materials. And at this point, I want to welcome Zave Walter from BPA.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm Xavier Walter with the Building Performance Association. Great information. That toolkit looks very, very valuable. If I was, as an employer, I would really dig into that as much as I could to use it and pieces of it for my business. And so thank you for you and your partners like Debra and others that have spent all that time creating that. It's really great. And the Green Workforce Connect is also a remarkable resource for folks. I'm with the Building Performance Association. We are the nation's leading industry association for weatherization and energy efficiency practitioners, just like everybody on this call. I see a lot of old friends and new friends on there, so it's great. Thank you so much for coming. We host the largest industry trade show for the last 30 years or so, coming up April 7th in New Orleans, where there's lots of great learning opportunities and a place to get your CEUs and network. And we also work really heavily within state outreach and workforce development. We're primarily driving registered apprenticeship programs and pre-apprenticeship programs by providing resources to folks looking to get these things up off of the ground, whether that be, some free curriculum for building science principles for high school students. I saw somebody in the chat was speaking to a group here in Colorado. So it's, we're really, our goal is to really serve folks that need it on the ground level through one-on-one interactions and conversations and providing resources and links to resources similar to what you've been hearing about today. Next slide. Energy efficiency is embedded in many different trades. We kind of define it as anybody that touches a home that where their work may impact the use of any natural resources. 2 in every 5 jobs in the energy sector is concentrated on energy efficiency. There's, 1.19 million jobs. We just recently released the Energy Efficiency Jobs in America report. So we'll put a link in the chat to that so you can really drill down into your hometown as to how many energy efficiency jobs are, around you and where you live. And, it's a real diverse workforce where, people come from all across the country. And it really is, people in communities fixing up houses in those same communities. And there's lots of opportunity, especially with the passage of legislation and the emphasis on curbing waste within, America's building stock. I think there's a lot of opportunity for practitioners to take advantage. But, just like every other trade, people are having a hard time finding and hiring and retaining their workers. We believe that programs like DOL registered apprenticeship have been time tested to pretty much serve this type of need and really give a foundation of standards to the work that we do and how employers can bring folks on and keep them around for a while. Next slide. There's lots of funding to infuse careers in energy efficiency. The good thing about the registered apprenticeship program is that it doesn't just rely on, on clean energy funding that may be subject to any type of governmental changes, but there's also time-tested, funding opportunities at community and technical colleges and within workforce programs at the state and community level that can be leveraged to help offset some of these training costs for employers. By, having been an employer and a contractor in this business, I understand how expensive it is to bring somebody on and then pay for a lot of training only for them to maybe leave and go work for somebody else. So a lot of these funding programs are designed to offset that fear, especially as we look into programs that provide things like wage reimbursement for your new hire or for your incumbent worker that wants to upskill. So that kind of takes the heat off the employer. So, it's a win-win for the employee or the candidate to get a really good, solid career path without the employer having to extend too much, because it does cost a lot to bring somebody on, and with only the chance that it works out. So there's lots of places that you as employers can look. Your state energy programs all across the country are coming out with amazing opportunities. Your local community technical colleges, and most importantly, the community workforce programs that are at the local level serving people specifically from previously underserved areas. Folks coming out of the justice-involved community, people struggling with opioid dependence, all of those folks have an opportunity to enter this workforce, and we as employers now have an opportunity to be able to help shepherd them in where they're at into a career that works for them and works for the employer at the same time. Next slide. As I mentioned, energy efficiency is kind of everywhere. It's HVAC, plumbing, electrical, manufacturing, distribution. So these jobs are kind of embedded into industries all across and professions all across the country. And we really need all those positions to kind of support the overall, what we consider the energy efficiency industry. There's credentials that have been set forth by places like the Building Performance Institute that have time-tested ways for people to kind of work through learning and proving their competencies on written and field exams to really give them the confidence that they need and the education they need to be successful in their relative jobs. And it can really be anybody from an admin position to a laborer position to an analytical energy auditor position, maybe a crew leader or a team leader, somebody that's managing a program somewhere or working for a workforce development corporation that really wants to kind of work within clean energy, but don't know where to start, but they're going to need this basic information. And then there's jobs that we have to directly support the activities, like an energy auditor, quality control inspectors, plumbers, and electricians. So because this all kind of targets various folks, we've kind of designed this energy specialist apprenticeship pathway, which ultimately is going to lead into probably 3 different individual pathways that can be cumulative over a period of time. And we really provide that roadmap for an employee and an employer to kind of give them the structure that they need, similar to the resources that you've heard today, but more on a one-on-one type basis. Next slide. So why register apprenticeship? I saw, a good partner on here, Hal Smith, one of our board members. He's been using registered apprenticeship for a long time in his organization to help cultivate his employees. And, it provides not just a job, but a career pathway. And, we can stack these various learning opportunities, credentials, certifications, and training, certificates, that we can stack them over a period of time and help onboard somebody appropriately. A lot of the businesses within our industry are small mom and pop shops that really don't have big HR departments and have trouble navigating a training plan for their, employees because they're just busy keeping up with the workload. So, our association has designed some really great content that helps people kind of take that information and create a training plan for their own business that works for them. And it really, maps out this roadmap. Instead of just getting a certification because a program told you had to have it, this really utilizes the knowledge behind the credentials to help build upon, a true path for somebody that can make a career out of it. And it really starts with this building science principles, or that can be kind of inserted in any pre-apprenticeship activity, whether you're a high school shop class or you're a real estate company wanting to do an informational session for homeowners. Building science principles gives everybody a real good understanding of not only opportunities in the marketplace of stopping wasted energy dollars or making healthier homes, but it also really shows people what, where they're using and losing energy in their own homes. Then once we move into the apprenticeship pathway, we have things like building analyst technician, building analyst professional, moving into energy auditor and quality control inspector. There's certificates like Healthy Homes Examiner that can be inserted into this pathway. The Total Building Performance Certificate kind of teaches entrepreneurs how to get into this business and how to work a project through on a deep home retrofit. So the apprenticeship pathway gets us standardizes both the learning as well as the pay. So if you start at an entry level wage and you move through this process, there's guaranteed pay increases throughout that path. So that incentivizes workers to kind of stick through it, even when you have to do things like take the math portion of the training, which I hate. It really gives you that initiative to kind of barrel through it and get the extra tutoring you need. Next slide. Our association's here to help on multiple fronts. No matter if you're an apprentice looking for an apprentice, looking for a career in this industry, if you're an employer looking to set something up for your company to get this kind of pathway, this training pathway designed at your organization, or if you're an advocate within your state that wants to see more registered apprenticeship, it's our job to help prop these programs up across the country. I saw some of some folks on here that have gone through apprenticeship, like Corey up in Maine, and we have other programs up and running in places like Maryland and Colorado. And it just really is a great way to substantiate all the hard work that our industry has done over the last many years, and really puts us at par with a lot of the other trades in the marketplace. So we'll provide that technical assistance to people that either want to be a group sponsor, or you just want to be, you just want to have a program for your own place. Answer any questions. Apprenticeship, and especially registered apprenticeship through the Department of Labor, is kind of tricky to navigate. It took me a long time to figure out what words meant what, and people often interchange what an apprenticeship is or it isn't. We're here to guide people through every step of the way, no matter where you're at in the pipeline. We also want to connect businesses directly to these programs. Without employers, there is no such thing as a registered apprenticeship. Unlike previous federal investment, where we focused on putting butts in seats and getting them trained, now we can put them into jobs and pay for those training as they're in that career and while they're working, earning while they're working. And we can also help point folks to funding in your area. It really breaks down to what county you're in and how your state is organized. Not only are there federal dollars anticipated and coming out through as a part of this process, but there's also existing local dollars and philanthropic dollars available for folks to take advantage of things like registered apprenticeship. Next slide. If you have any questions, please, feel free to scan this QR code or come directly to our website. We have 3 buckets. Are you an apprentice? Are you an employer? Or are you a workforce development agency looking for more information? Our staff and my partners here at the Building Performance Institute, like Haley and Brooke Vernon, we work every day to help assist business owners and ground level operators in being successful and kind of lifting up their business and help utilize these tools. So we look forward to helping you. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And as always, please come to our National Home Performance Conference in New Orleans. You would love it. It's how I started my business almost 20 years ago. And I'm just so thankful to be employed by the association that's helped me get to where I am at in my career. So, and thanks for everybody for being on this call. Thank you, Pagan, for your years of support, and Kelly. It's great to have partners like you guys. Thanks so much. And Pagan, you're on mute. And I apologize if the QR code isn't working. I'm going to drop a link in the chat.
That's what I was just saying, but I'm muted. Gosh, we're having technical challenges today. Kelly, do you want to come back on and join us for this next little section here? Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today. Really feel great about our partnerships and all of the different ways that our work intersects and supports each other. I don't think we had any questions come in through our Q&A option. So I would like to know from, let's Xavier and Kelly, my colleagues, what is one thing that you think a contractor could do, or someone that is supporting contractors? What's the one thing you would recommend as a key action step or takeaway from what's been shared today? And I'm putting us all on the spot here.
Well, I think as a contractor, I want to give a shout out to, from a contractor perspective, because I'm not a contractor, but as a contractor, I think that the Contractor's Guide to Success and all of those supplemental resources are just incredibly useful. And it's been really fun for me to watch them in development. I don't know if Mark is in attendance today, but someone remarked earlier about how you can really see the love and the passion that went into this project. And I just have to say it's so true because, when I sit with this group, when we're months and months away from launching anything to the public, you see people get emotional talking about what this would have meant to me if these things had been available when I was starting. What this could have done for my business, for my local agency, if they had existed. They didn't exist till now. And all of these things that you see when you go under that contractor guide, they are, not just the fruit of one person's work, but many careers, people who were WAP program administrators in their local agency dealing with dozens of contractors over a whole career, seeing over and over the same pain points and developing what is needed to get through those pain points to a successful and stable business. So please do check them out.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm struck by the similarities in our approaches to development of the contractor's guide and the toolkit. And I know Xavier, the apprenticeship guidelines, the amount of engagement and participation from folks outside of our organizations has really made, I think, these resources and supports even more valuable. We do have a couple of questions. Kelly, this one would be for you. Is BPI looking at replacing the 3-year recertification requirement with a 5-year requirement that has been discussed? And I don't know if there's any good answer yet to that.
Yes, there is. It is in pilot phase right now. The launch date is not finalized yet, but what will be happening? First of all, let's be clear that BPI does not create the scheme, the certification scheme for the energy auditor. NREL does that. And then we convene experts to match the exam to NREL's scheme certification. So what I understand, and I'm going to ask you to take it as in process. My understanding is that when the scheme update is finalized, when you recertify, when you renew your certification, eventually it will be a 5-year renewal process, and that will be at some time in the future. Right now, you can still renew under the old scheme with a 3-year renewal cycle. And there will be lots and lots and lots of news and communication coming out with my name on it about dates and times and processes as that time approaches. But the answer to that is yes, eventually, but not now. It is within sight.
Thank you. I know folks
if there is a follow-up question, please email me directly, and I'll get it to the right technical person on the BPI team.
Yeah, I think folks will be happy with that. Okay, Xavier, I'm going to kick that back to you. My earlier question, one key takeaway that you want folks to know.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, and this is a little more out there, I guess, of an answer. Obviously, the answer is to kind of download these resources, but the reality is after COVID, we as employers need to kind of think differently. of our employees and where we find them and who they are, and really take a better understanding of and realize that they are our greatest tool and our greatest asset. And we need to become more flexible, especially in the trades. There's been, forever, there's been a push to produce and a push to, give your all to the company store. And, and I think now, especially with the younger generation, I just don't think that works anymore. I think, expecting somebody to beat themselves for 40 hours a week in an attic space, is just not sustainable. It's not sustainable for the human body. I know my body's hurting because of it. And I think the employer really, if they focus more on the holistic nature of the human, I think they're going to find that a lot more productivity and a lot more success. And I think people are going to stick around. And a big part of that is just nurturing somebody through a career, not just a job. And maybe being okay with somebody leaving your arms to go maybe start their own business or go take that promotion somewhere else. I think we got to really think about how people want to live and have that work-life balance and provide employment opportunities that can match both the wellness of the company with the wellness of the employee. And I think that structurally things like registered apprenticeship does that. I think that gives an opportunity for people to follow a pathway that includes things like professional and personal development. And it's kind of written in there. So we're not just making it up. So
yeah, that shift in how we might start thinking about workforce and moving a little bit away from like the employer focus and more to the individual worker employee focus, I think that's fodder for another 1 hour discussion. We have a question in the chat related to what type of, and there was another reference to this earlier too. What types of wages can you expect as an apprentice, and is there a pathway for pay increases or guidance for small business owners? And I think I will say on the Weatherization Assistance Program side specifically, you can see up-to-date wages that are expected for the key weatherization field roles, both in Green Workforce Connect on a national basis and for each of our state spotlights. And then also on the NASCASP website, there's a lot of information about wages. But Xavier, do you have a quick comment on apprenticeship pay and increases there?
I've always defaulted back to that NASCAS survey for years, so it's like but the work is hard, and the pay should be commensurate with that, and not just the starting pay is the thing, but if I do X, Y, and Z, how much can I make later, right? If I showing that opportunity of growth is equally as important as paying a wage. So it's going to depend, having moved from West Virginia to Colorado, noticing the significant cost of living difference, that's got to be accounted for. So we really appreciate, everybody appreciates a good living wage, but especially those that have to crawl in really hot attics and really wet, gross crawl spaces. I mean, come on. It's like Mike Rose said, it's one of the dirtiest jobs in America. So let's pay accordingly.
Agreed.
Hagan, I wonder if I could just second something that Zave said a little earlier. One of the things that we found is really important to recruiting non-traditional employees is transparency around job expectations. What does it pay? What are the hours? What's the time off? What are your family leave policies? So that people know what to expect, particularly people who have family obligations. They need to know what they're getting into. So being as transparent and as prompt with people as you can be is really important. Being timely and respectful in the way that you arrange your recruiting, call back promptly, schedule, interviews promptly, all of those things, so that people know the ball is rolling and they don't take another position, if there is criteria for success in terms of your job, let people know what they are so they know how to perform well. When people are uncertain of themselves, when you're hiring people who have not been on a construction site since they were 15 or 16 years old, those things are really important to making them feel comfortable and helping them be successful.
100% agree. It starts right from your job posting and including your salary offering in your job posting so people know whether or not it's even an opportunity that's a fit for them. And that communication, like breaking down barriers in the application process, making it super simple for people to reach out and say, hey, am I a fit for your organization? I am going to put in the chat, there is a resource that we developed. It's focused on Weatherization Assistance Program, agencies and work, but it is applicable to every organization. It's a resource we put out around transforming your career opportunities page and making it easier for job seekers to access your employment opportunities. And we have, there's an evaluation checklist. You can evaluate your own organization website, and that part is applicable to any organization. It includes things like, is your careers section of your website easy to navigate? We could keep having open conversation here, I think, for longer than the time we have available today. I do want to thank Kelly and Zaid for joining me. I really appreciate your partnership and willingness to participate in opportunities like this to share the great work that our organizations are doing. We do have a request from one of our partners, the National Renewable Energy Lab. They are requesting feedback from contractors by January 31st. And I know we've got contractors on this call. We also have a lot of other folks on this call that work with contractors. It's a quick 10-minute survey to get insights around contractors' perceptions and approaches to hiring, training, and upskilling. A lot really relevant to our conversation today. So if you have the opportunity to share that survey with the appropriate folks, or if you are a contractor yourself and can take it, that would be wonderful. My key takeaway that I want to share is there are a lot of amazing resources out there, and there are incredible people working for great organizations, and we're available to help you with your workforce development needs. So please reach out. I won't speak for everybody, but I will say that when we don't have the answer to your question, we often know the person that we can connect you with that might be able to help you and take the next step. So thank you again for joining us today, and appreciate all of you.